Welcome to The Reign of Hitler, WWI and DWAM Explained. In the annals of history, few figures cast as long a shadow as Adolf Hitler. Join us as we delve into the tumultuous years of the 20th century, where the seeds of two world wars were sown and the specter of fascism reshaped the course of humanity. The aftermath of World War I. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, imposed harsh reparations and territorial losses on Germany, leading to widespread resentment and economic collapse. The Weimar Republic, established amidst this chaos, struggled to maintain stability. Political factions clashed in the streets, and extremist ideologies gained traction. Amidst this turmoil emerged a charismatic figure, a former soldier and aspiring artist named Adolf Hitler. Rise of Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler rose to prominence in the 1920s, joining the German Workers' Party, which later became the National Socialist German Workers' Party, NSDAP. His fiery speeches and nationalist rhetoric attracted a growing following. Hitler's failed beer hall putsch in 1923 briefly halted his ascent but ultimately propelled him to national attention. While in prison, he penned Mein Kampf, outlining his radical ideology and vision for Germany's future. Adolf Hitler's rise to power in Germany during the 1930s marked a pivotal and deeply troubling chapter in modern history. His ideology centered on the dangerous principles of racial purity, anti-Semitism, and aggressive expansionism. Hitler and the Nazi regime swiftly consolidated power, utilizing sophisticated propaganda techniques and instilling fear to enforce a chilling conformity across German society. The enactment of discriminatory laws, notably the infamous Nuremberg Laws of 1935, marked a dark and sinister turn in Nazi policy. These laws institutionalized anti-Semitism and codified racial hierarchy, stripping Jews of citizenship and depriving them of basic rights. Alongside Jews, other marginalized groups, including Romani people, disabled individuals, and political dissidents, faced brutal systematic oppression and violence under the regime's reign of terror. As Hitler's regime solidified control, the propaganda machine played a critical role in shaping public perception. Nazi propaganda demonized Jews as scapegoats for Germany's economic woes, employing virulent anti-Semitic imagery and rhetoric to dehumanize and vilify an entire population. Films, posters, and speeches glorified an idealized Aryan race while depicting Jews as subhuman and dangerous, paving the way for widespread discrimination and ultimately genocide. In November 1938, the world witnessed the horrifying escalation of state-sponsored violence during Kristallnacht, or Night of Broken Glass. Synagogues were burned, businesses looted, and countless Jewish homes vandalized. This coordinated pogrom unleashed a wave of terror across Germany and Austria, signaling a harrowing escalation in the persecution of Jews. The aftermath of Kristallnacht left a stark reminder of the depths of inhumanity that the Nazi regime was willing to pursue. The Nuremberg Laws were not merely legal instruments, but represented a systematic dehumanization of Jews, paving the way for their eventual isolation and extermination. These laws barred intermarriage and sexual relations between Jews and Germans, reinforcing a racial hierarchy that sought to eliminate diversity and dissent within German society. The pervasiveness of such discriminatory legislation exemplified the totalitarian grip of the Nazi state, which sought to reshape the very fabric of German society according to its twisted vision. As the regime tightened its grip, the creation of ghettos and, later, the establishment of concentration camps signaled a chilling escalation of state-sponsored brutality. Jews and other targeted groups were forcibly relocated to cramped, unsanitary conditions in ghettos, stripped of their belongings and subjected to unimaginable suffering. The construction of concentration camps like Auschwitz and Dachau represented the darkest manifestation of Nazi ideology, where millions would perish in the name of racial purity and conquest. The horrors of the Holocaust stand as a haunting testament to the consequences of unchecked hatred and tyranny. The systematic extermination of 6 million Jews, along with countless others, remains a stark reminder of the depths of human depravity. Hitler's regime, with its racialist ideology and ruthless pursuit of power, left an indelible scar on history, underscoring the urgent need for vigilance against intolerance and extremism in all its forms. World War II begins. In September 1939, Adolf Hitler's Nazi Germany launched a swift and devastating invasion of Poland, marking the beginning of World War II. This aggression was a culmination of Hitler's expansionist ambitions, seeking to reclaim territories lost in World War I and establish German dominance in Europe. The invasion utilized blitzkrieg tactics, characterized by rapid and coordinated air and ground attacks, which quickly overwhelmed Polish defenses. Despite international outrage and diplomatic efforts to deter further aggression, the invasion of Poland ultimately sparked a global conflict that would shape the course of history for years to come. The swift fall of Poland to German forces underscored the effectiveness of blitzkrieg tactics and set a precedent for the lightning-fast conquests that would follow in the early stages of World War II. The Battle of Britain in 1940 marked a critical phase of World War II, where Hitler's military strategy aimed to gain air superiority over Britain as a precursor to a potential invasion. The Luftwaffe's relentless bombing raids targeted British cities and military installations, but the Royal Air Force, RAF, successfully defended against these attacks, dealing a significant blow to Hitler's plans for a cross-channel invasion. Following this, the tide decisively turned with the Allied invasion of Normandy on June 6, 1944, known as D-Day. This massive amphibious assault involved British, American, Canadian, and other Allied forces landing on the beaches of Normandy, France. Overcoming fierce German resistance, the Allies secured a crucial foothold in Western Europe, paving the way for the liberation of France and the eventual defeat of Nazi Germany. The success of the D-Day landings marked a turning point in the war, shifting momentum in favor of the Allies and setting the stage for the eventual downfall of Hitler's regime. The Holocaust, a horrific chapter in human history, unfolded under Hitler's regime. Millions of Jews, Roma, disabled individuals, and others fell victim to genocide. Allied forces liberated concentration camps, revealing the full extent of Nazi atrocities. The Nuremberg trials sought to hold perpetrators accountable for their crimes. While the Allied forces closed in on Berlin, another significant theater of war was unfolding in the Pacific, where a series of island-hopping campaigns were key in turning the tide against Japan. In the Pacific theater, the strategy of island hopping, spearheaded by Allied forces, proved critical. This approach involved capturing key islands held by the Japanese one by one to establish air bases and supply lines for further advancement towards Japan itself. One of the most pivotal battles in this theater was the Battle of Midway in June 1942. Here, U.S. naval forces dealt a decisive blow to the Imperial Japanese Navy, sinking 4 of their aircraft carriers. This victory not only halted Japan's advance, but also shifted the momentum in favor of the Allies in the Pacific. The Battle of Midway is often regarded as a turning point in the war against Japan, showcasing the effectiveness of naval air power and intelligence efforts. Through strategic planning and relentless combat, Allied forces continued to gain ground across the Pacific, inching closer to Japan's home islands. These combined efforts, from the Eastern Front to the Pacific Islands, ultimately led to the end of one of history's deadliest conflicts and set the stage for a new era of global relations. The aftermath of Hitler's reign reverberated globally. Europe lay in ruins, divided between East and West. The Cold War ensued, shaped by the specter of fascism. Yet from the ashes of war emerged a commitment to human rights and international cooperation. The world vowed to never forget the lessons of Hitler's reign. The reign of Adolf Hitler was a testament to the dangers of unchecked extremism and intolerance. As we reflect on this dark chapter, let us strive to build a world of peace and understanding. Thanks for watching.